Checking connection. You are now live. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. It's Tuesday night and I feel alright. The party's here all up in my bedroom. And I reach for my 40 and I pick it up. Designated drivers get the keys to my truck. Something, something, something. Some related. Something, 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 something. It feels so good in my hood tonight. Something, something, no. Guys, I don't know why I get weird when I go live, but I get real weird when I go live. Let me know where you're from in the comments. All right, we got Desi Method member Esjay rolling through. We're gonna chop it up. There we go. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. My day today, let me see here. I woke up at the crack ass of 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here in beautiful Kitsilano, Vancouver, British Columbia. Went to my favorite coffee shop. Shout out Storm Coffee. Surrey in the house. Mr. Duck Gooseman. Went to Storm Coffee and checked a bunch of things off my list, which I was excited about. Came home, made a delicious scrambled egg mixture with some veggies, and I had an hour nap, passed out on the couch. That was fantastic. We're back. It is what it is, man. The older you get, the more you enjoy naps. It's just a reality of getting older, you know, in my wise and old years. Then I hit Kitsilano Rec Center. I'm giving you guys all the tips of where to find me. This ain't good. Hit up the Rec Center. Did most of my training in the squat rack today. 3 or 4 sets of bench press, deadlifts, squats, bent over barbell rows. What else did I do? Some kettlebell swings. Some plate halos where you grab the plate and you go all the way around your head, back and forth. Back and forth. Maybe about 4 or 5 sets. I'm aiming for about 8 repetitions these days. That keeps me in the strength building / hypertrophy, damn, that's hard to say, zone. And then after I trained for about an hour, I ended up hitting the sauna, which is by far the best part of my day. Chilling in this, I guess you're not chilling, you're heating in the sauna. Heating up in the sauna and just relaxing, trying to keep my mind calm, keep my energy right. So that was awesome. And then I went to edit some videos for a couple hours. And then I hit my favorite pizza spot because today is my cheat meal. I have 1 or 2 cheat meals in a month. And today I hit my favorite pizza joint, Reggiano's Pizza on West 4th Avenue. And I had the barbecue chicken times dos, ham and pineapple, and I had one more. What was that? Maybe a pepperoni? I'm not too sure. But it was delicious. Delicious. We got Esjay coming through here shortly. I don't know where he is, but he'll be here. He's on his Desi Method time. But that's okay. I got a track coming up. We're going to talk about Ghostmode, January 19th, 2024. And I'm stoked to talk about my inspiration behind that, where it came from, and the next moves I'm going to make. Let me know where you guys are from in the comments. We have Vancouver, BC. We have Surrey, British Columbia. Let me know where you're from in the comments. We got Esjay from Desi Method stopping by, and we're going to chop it up. Let's see here. How do I invite to join? There he is. Boom. Oh, snap. Look who the cat dragged in. Awesome. Aloha.
Yo, what's going on?
I see the Aston Halo brothers in the background here.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, man. Aston Halo, man. It's fucking phenomenal.
Yo, you can't go wrong with the Aston Halo. It's honestly, if you're recording at home, nothing's better.
There is nothing better than the Aston Halo. I mean, it costs like $3 or something ridiculous, right? For the we're talking about these purple filters in the background that block out all exterior noise.
Yeah.
Usually you have to have like a vocal booth to make it sound so clean. But since I had these, we don't really even need a vocal booth.
That being said, was it last Friday? How expensive was that mic that Ethan was using at Back End Studios? How expensive was
that? Evan's mic was like 8 G's.
Yeah.
U87. It's a German microphone.
Like, that was crazy. Yeah, 8 G's on a mic.
Yeah.
But it was good. But he knows how to use it. That's the thing. You got to know how to use it.
How to use it, and he had a preamp hooked up too.
And he had a preamp. And you know what? When you're a mixing engineer, your ear can hear the little nuances in the sound, right? So,
what did you think about our session at Back End recording with Evan?
I liked it, man. The only thing is that when you make a demo for a song, like me and Evan talked about it, so like I had that original version of the song that we would listen to, remember?
Yeah.
And like, so because I mix a little bit, so like I have like a certain vision for the song, and my only thing is like I just want it mixed without losing any of that, like whatever I liked about the demo.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, no matter what, like you can't perform the song exactly the same. It's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, but overall, man, I think Evan's a beast. I think he's a crazy recording engineer, mixing engineer. The studio was great. The vibe was awesome. I can't wait for people to hear that music, man, because even your vocals came out like super clean, super clean.
I mean, with that $8,000 microphone and the preamp and us elevating our game with our vocals, the game changer, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I plan on going back and recording more with him for sure. I know he's going on tour for a bit, but yeah, that's crazy. He ended up knowing a lot of the same people as me as well, so that's cool.
Exactly.
But yeah, I know. It was a great session, man. It was
for sure. You have a track coming out on January 19th.
Yeah, this Friday.
What's it called?
So I dropped Frsh at the end of 2023. So this is Frsh version 2. When I made that song, I had a vision to do this kind of like, I guess you can call it a remix. I had a vision to do this kind of beat to it. And then, so it's something different. I haven't had this vibe for a while. So yeah, Frsh version 2 comes out Friday. I think it'll be something different. What was that?
Make the beat?
Of course. Come on, man. Everything. Any song I ever work on has my beat, but that won't always be the case because I'm going to be working with Santos pretty soon. Okay. And he's a producer. And so I'll be working on one of his beats too. But 90, so far 100% of the time has been my beat, but going forward, like 95%
Okay.
of the time.
Okay. Guys, let us know where you're from in the comments. Lee Brown, James 2, Simrath, Glitz, Glamour, Wedding Designs, M. Maria de Lourdes, Queens, Cavalot, Mr. Duck Gooseman. Let us know where you're from in the comments. We got Surrey, we got Delta, we got Vancouver. Where else? We got Hong Kong in the house. Dope, man. That's great. Yeah, I thought. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I thought that session was awesome.
Yeah.
I think that like with the whole having a demo track ahead of time, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, and for me, it's about the listener's experience. So it's like all the nuances that I want on that track to satisfy myself. I mean, fuck, bro, I don't really care that much, to be honest with you. I gotta let it go because it's about the listener's experience to me. As long as I'm conveying the message and the vibe and the feeling, that's my job. So it's like maybe you go in next time, you don't have a demo on the next track. You just go in and you just lay it down and then you build it as a puzzle as you're going. I'm thinking about that too, as well. It's just like ditching the demo. But
is, like, if you're gonna ditch a demo, you got. I think you have to be spending time in the studio more, right? Like,
yeah,
I think like the way we did it, where like you kind of work on the song on your own, and then you show, and then you go record on that, like that final date you go record on.
yeah,
Then you got to have some kind of concept already like in your mind from before. But yeah,
yeah,
I think if you're spending some like maybe like a few sessions in the studio, just like where you have like maybe like 4 hours in the studio and you don't have anything planned, then yeah, you can definitely do it without a demo.
yeah. I might put less effort into my demos. I think like I won't have the whole demo. I'll just be like spitting a little
Yeah,
bit so they know where the
yeah,
chorus, bridge
yeah.
is, where the hook is going, and then like
The
and then I'll
more,
take all that energy and creation for the
yeah,
studio sessions.
I know that's a good point. That's a good point.
You know what's been interesting is like creating music not using weed. I find that like really interesting to create because like I've previously before like the past year I was like always smoking weed in the studio,
Yeah.
like making music in that zone, that creativity zone with influence of Mary Jane, and now like without it, it's like I feel like I'm on another level without it, which is strange. Like it's
What?
not keeping me trapped.
How would you say? How would you say on another level? How would you explain that? Like, what do you mean when you say on another level without it?
I mean, I think I want another level without it, not just in the music studio, but just in life in general. Um, for me, like I got to a point where I didn't even enjoy it, and it was a distraction,
Right.
and it was essentially a painkiller for me. Because I couldn't deal with like everyday life essentially, and then I got sick, like physically sick, like the flu, probably from over smoking and my immunity being drained.
Right.
Um, and then weed grossed me out for a while. Like I didn't want to touch it as I was getting better. It took me a long time to get healthy, like 2 weeks or something like that, to get back on track.
Yeah.
And then like I had this epiphany of like, is weed helping me or is it hurting me? And then I was just sitting with that for a while. And it's tough because like the social normality of weed being accepted is just like widespread now. Like it's in all our movies, it's in all our music.
Yeah.
So it's like, you see something and it was, oh, that triggers me. Like, oh, like that Dr. Dre track I'm listening to, they're talking about smoking and cruising. Like, fuck, that sounds exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Or like, it was really hard to escape that. And now where I'm at is like when I do mushrooms, which I do like 3 or 4 times a year, usually by myself in the woods. I'll use weed then as a tool where I can like explore a different consciousness
Right.
with, but then come back to the reality of being sober because like I'm not like if we look at society, what percentage of human beings rely on marijuana, alcohol, or food or other drugs for pleasure or distraction?
Right.
It's like an insane
But yeah,
amount,
probably 85, 90%.
right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because since I've like stopped smoking and being high all the time, I can see the people around me that are completely blitzed out of their
Yeah.
mind all the time during the day. And it's like they smell like weed. They're high like at 12 o'clock, or like, you know, you can just look at somebody like, you're fucking so high right now. It's like,
Yeah.
I was that guy that people are like, yo, like, why the fuck are you stoned at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday? Like, don't you got like work to do and shit, you know?
What what
So
what what would you say was the hardest part in hindsight about quitting? So like if so there was a point where you realized it
yeah,
wasn't good for you, and then there was a delay in like you quitting. So what would you say was the hardest part of quitting once you decided, okay, maybe this isn't the best thing for me?
withdrawal for me was real, bro. Like withdrawal from weed, physical withdrawal, psychological withdrawal. Like clearly, you see, I'm burning other things now, which I like. This helps me take. I like burning things. I don't know why. Like I like the smell of campfire, so I burn Palo
Yeah.
Santo. Like,
Oh, it's good.
and
I have incense burning behind me right now.
exactly, it sets the mood, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the withdrawal was the hardest part. Like to get through the headaches,
Right.
um, the cravings, and just like I couldn't sleep. I was having night sweats.
Mm.
Horrible withdrawal, man.
Yeah.
And what really helped me was like training
Yeah.
lots, physical activity,
Mm.
hitting the sauna to literally like soak out the THC from my pores, hit
Hmm.
sauna, and like always hydrating, like constantly having like electrolytes nearby and just water. And I hate to say it, but just like the time, like, you know, no one wants to be in pain or struggling from withdrawal of any substance. I have no idea what it's like to be addicted to any other substance other than weed, essentially. But you need that time to for your body to process it. And I had like a good friend who quit or took a tolerance break before me. I don't know how long it was before me. I got to talk to him about it after. But and I just saw how clear he was, and he was just as pulled into the addiction of smoking as I was, I'd say. And to see him clear and celebrating normal consciousness, that kept me in check as well, because I wanted to be like that. And then another thing that helped me was this app. It was called Grounded.
Yeah.
Uh, I got this app off the App Store. Basically, you type in like how much weed you're smoking per day. For me, it was like a gram a day, I guess, or like a joint or two a day, and how much money you're spending on it. And
Yeah.
it shows you like how much time has gone since you've last smoked and how much money you've saved. And I'm like, wow, I've saved X amount of dollars, and I've saved like this many grams not going in my lungs. And for me, seeing that was like, wow, like I'm just gonna keep this going. And like I have a very obsessive personality, so like I haven't had like McDonald's in like 15 years. It's because I know if I open that can of worms, it's like it's not gonna be good, you know. So it's the same thing for weed. I gotta, for me, and that's for me. I want to respect it as like a sacred medicine at this point. I don't want to be like, yo, I need to blaze in the studio. I need to blaze while I'm training. I need to blaze while I'm driving. I need to blaze while I'm stressed. I need to blaze while I'm, you know, like
Mm.
it just it wasn't healthy for me. So I'm very, very
Yeah.
happy to escape that. And I feel my energy level is insane right now. Like
Yeah.
My sleep's great, my training's great, and I feel like I'm coming to another point in my life where just everything's elevating. So why look back, you know?
Let me ask you, like, have you tried quitting before? And if you have, what would you say was like the slip up where you fell back into it? Because I think that's important too. I think knowing what's caught your like foot before, you know?
Yeah. Ah, okay. So definitely tried quitting before.
Mm-hmm.
And quitting was in chunks. Like I've gone like 3 months without weed, 6 months without weed. And then my mind will justify why it's okay for me to smoke. So it'll be like, oh, you're doing so great right now. So you can have some weed and just chillax for tonight. Or like, oh, you're having trouble sleeping, just hit the J and then pass out. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So self-awareness is so important for me. And I feel like I have a greater grasp of self-awareness and knowing that by detaching from my thoughts and knowing that that is what my mind wants to do is to trick me essentially. Like my mind's not my friend all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps me. And then also like when I feeling a craving, I'll just go on YouTube and watch like there's this addiction mindset coach I really like. I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. And he just talks about how society wants you distracted. They want you high. They want you addicted to alcohol. They want
Well,
you on drugs.
it's like it's because they want you to be a consumer,
Yeah.
right? So when you're intoxicated, you're I don't know what it is, but I feel like you're always in a like even if you look at your mind, like you're always pondering. You're not thinking new thoughts. You're like looking at the past. You're like thinking about other things. Whereas like I feel like when you're sober, first of all, sober, the word sober has such a negative connotation. It almost feels like when you say somebody's sober, it feels like you're saying they're boring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like when someone's sober, how do you feel sobriety versus weed? So forget everything else, but like how do you feel like it affects your creativity on the day to day? So it doesn't even have to be like just music, but just like how your mind works. Like how do you feel towards creativity? Because I've seen it in you. Like I see you doing definitely more creative things. But yeah, what would you say?
Well, first I'd say like it feels so good not to be reliant on any substances.
Yeah.
Like if you want to call me boring, then you can call me boring, but I'm cool with that.
But is it boring? Is your existence boring? Like, is it boring for you? Or would you say you're having. But I feel like, you know what? Do you agree with this? I feel like when it comes to intoxicants, it's like the idea of doing the intoxicant is more exciting. They call it like you get the dopamine rush, not only from the intoxicant, it's called anticipatory dopamine.
Yeah.
So the more someone does any intoxicant, whether it's weed or drinking, the return they get on it is less and less. So the first time they got high, the first time they got drunk, they felt it like crazy.
Yeah.
The 100th time they got drunk or got high, they're barely feeling it.
Yeah.
But it's that how you said when you tell yourself like, oh, when you trick yourself into going, I deserve it, or I'm gonna do it today. When you uh, when you agree with your mind and you're like, oh, I am gonna do it, that dopamine hit is actually more rewarding than actually doing the substance, because the substance itself stops giving you a reward. So it's like oftentimes like the sesh or the drinking session is less satisfying than people assume it's going to be, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I wasn't satisfied at all at the end of it. Like I'd smoke a whole joint and I wouldn't even
But you
feel it.
were probably excited before
I
you
couldn't
lit it, right?
wait to smoke.
Yeah, that dopamine is what's hard to give up, is that anticipatory dopamine. And
you know what's better than that
yeah,
though? Is getting high while like running or like going for a run. You can get high as fuck, bro.
but you have to, that's the whole thing. So we go back to consumer mindset, right?
Yeah,
They're trying to sell you on the quick fix,
yeah,
right? So you know you can go run and go get it,
yeah,
but you have to earn it, right?
yeah.
You have to be in the middle of your workout to feel high. You have to meditate to get
Yeah.
high. But they just, it's basically they're giving you a pill. People don't realize they look at pills like it's bad, but weed is a pill. Any intoxicant is a pill. It's taking you, everything is already inside of us, right? But you have to be able, you have to activate it through action,
Yeah.
as opposed to taking something, whether it's a pill or some substance, and it'll just shortcut you there. But then
Well,
that
yeah.
shortcut's gonna have a side effect, though, right?
Well, think about what percentage of society is taking pills.
Yeah, that's a whole different. That's a whole different. Like, even if you look at the fentanyl problem, like, people get addicted to people don't realize, like, there's people that get addicted to fentanyl from after they have like a car accident, so they start taking fentanyl for their back pain, and now they're addicted to fentanyl and they lose it. Like, that happens. So like
Yeah.
the pharmaceutical thing now, would you mix that in with like the, like the um what would you, like, alcohol and like weed industries. So it's
Yeah.
like, man, like, you really have to kind of decide what you want to do in your life, because if you're just like, oh, I'm going to do what everybody else does, everybody else is doing what they're fed, and what you're being fed, unfortunately, is based on capitalism, and capitalism, weed industry, alcohol industry, pharma industry, they all are about making money at the end of the day. They're publicly traded companies. So they're going to tell you smoke, drink,
Yeah.
do this, right? And their thinking is, yo, you have free will, decide for yourself. But the thing is like, people don't realize they're being conditioned a certain way. Like, everybody thinks, oh, like, a beer is just, oh, well, I'm going to have some beers. Like, it's so normal. It's actually weird if you don't have a few beers,
Yeah.
right? But people don't realize they've been conditioned to think like that. You've been conditioned to think like that. And I don't even think it's like conspiracy theory anymore. I think the average person understands that now. So if you've been conditioned to do these things, that's what, when people say, oh, escape the matrix, they're not being like hocus pocus. They're not about like, you know what I mean? Like, they're saying like, escape your conditioning, right? Escape the conditioning, and like, decide for yourself what's the best for you. And like, you're here telling us like, yo, okay, I quit this substance, I'm more creative, I'm more energetic, I'm more happy, I'm more clear-headed, right? But is anyone out there going to sell you that lifestyle? Like, no, right?
You know what's
What made you so if no one's selling you that lifestyle,
yeah.
someone like yourself, you said there's so many other influences telling you to go the other way. So what would you say? One was like, okay, you had someone in your life that was on the same path as you, and then took a break, so you saw uh, them being more clear-headed. So is that what it is?
I mean, that was part of it for sure. That was definitely part of it. But you know what? Just to backtrack for a sec, you know what's really fucked
Mhm.
up is that 10 years ago, if you're smoking or dealing weed, you get locked up for that shit
Yeah.
in Western culture. You get locked up for that shit. And
Hmm.
now they market and sell it to you because they're profiting off of it.
Because they're profiting off of it. I mean, I don't think you should get locked up for it, but yeah, if you look at the difference, like, what changed? You know what I mean? Did their opinions change, or was it that now they've decided, okay, we know how to make money off of this?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And also they uh, cannabis is so fucking strong now. With all
Yeah.
these mixing of strains and the technology, it's not like it was 10 years ago either. Like
Yeah.
these I was gonna say kids, that makes me sound old as fuck, but these high schoolers a lot of them are addicted to vaporizers now.
Bro, I didn't realize it until someone mentioned it to me. Like, and they don't even know. The kids, some of these kids don't even know how bad they are for them. They're like, oh, it's just a jewel, because now it's marketed that way. Oh, it's just this, it's just that. They give like, and then our friend Karn from Peril,
Yeah.
right? So his sister works at a hospital, and she was telling us like how many kids are coming with like they have like these micro small holes in like their lungs and stuff from vaping. Like it's an epidemic,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, who owns the vape companies? It's the nicotine companies. So, but do you remember how they marketed vapes? It was the way to get off cigarettes, right?
Yeah, get the smoke out of your lungs.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it's like even when it comes to like pharmacy, like I was talking to my parents the other day about like medicine, right? And like we're not going to use the word because this might get shadow banned, but something happened a few years ago where we all had to wear masks.
Yeah.
And we all had to get certain needles put in us for certain things,
Yeah.
and we were forced to do it, right? Like I'll tell you my story. I barely take Tylenol when I'm sick. And so, but I had my cousin's wedding, right? So I was like, okay, I'm the only one that's going to attend, right? So I took the needle, but it was crazy to be there and be like, someone's forcing this into my body.
Yeah.
But there's people in my life that have had really severe reactions to those injections, right?
Yeah.
So I was just talking to my parents the other day about like how like going back to like natural medicines, right? I know, you have cultural background from China. I have a cultural background from India, and we live in BC with an indigenous background here, right? And all three cultures rely heavily on um, herbal medicine, right? And I think these days people are realizing that, okay, well, we can't just keep buying this bullshit they're selling us. Like, we have to go back to our roots. Now, whether that's meditating, medicine, or a clear consciousness,
Yeah.
right? In all ways, like a simple, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that um, the general population has kind of come together and realized that like we've been fucked with?
I don't know, because, okay, on one hand, I hope so, right? Okay, I'll give you two sample, quickly digress. So like about 12, 13 years ago, there's a businessman on a show, Charlie Rose, and he talked about how there was the Industrial Revolution, then now we're in the technological revolution, and he said, and this guy was a businessman, right? And he's like, just like, he was saying it mattered, but he's like, the next revolution is going to be a spiritual revolution after the technological revolution, right? So one would hope that because if you look at a lot of these problems in the world, it's like, the only way there's a solution to this shit is that like people come together in a consciousness, get a more clear consciousness. So that's one side. The part that scares me is sometimes I'll read books from like 1960, 1930, right? And the person's writing like, oh, like, we're just at the brink of people coming together. We're just at the brink of people's consciousness clearing. So like, it's like, I don't know. I don't know, because like in the 20s and the 30s, they felt like they were at the brink of it, right? And we're saying the same thing now. But I like to be optimistic and I think so. And I think ultimately, what can you focus on is your tribe, right? And if I say my tribe, I see a lot of people around me finding sobriety in their life, right? And I think like finding God in your life, like I don't think God means like, I think the idea of God is out now, we're taking it somewhere else, but like I think God, the idea of God has a little bit been outdated too. Like this person outside of me is God looking down on me or whatever, right? I think like people are coming together in more of like I think so many cultures and religions coming together, there's so many problems with it, but it also kind of makes you redefine those words like God. So like whether it's like you have there's Buddha in the back, I believe, right? So like just finding your inner peace, and I find a lot of people in my tribe finding sobriety, searching for inner peace more, um, simplifying their lives, going back to herbal medicine. So I see it in my tribe. I can't speak for the world, but I see it around me. What would you say for that? What would you say? We were kind of
Man, I mean, I'm kind of in a similar thought train to you because I see those changes as well. People recognizing that we need to come together.
right.
At the same time, I see like the propaganda specifically targeting the generation in colleges and universities,
Mm-hmm.
and, and they they don't have a choice. Essentially, they're not in a position where they could be like, "Yo, I'm not taking that," or they're gonna get kicked out of school, right? Or
Right.
they're the culture is changing. How like everyone's getting a trophy no matter what place you come in. For me, I believe competition breeds excellence. I mean, I compete with you when we're hooping because that's gonna make me better. I compete with musicians because that's gonna make me better. Like that's what I believe. Um, I believe that everyone should be accepted, absolutely, and not judged. But I don't feel like children should have a say about changing their sexes when they're children. You know, like I have strong opinions on those things, and I see like how our culture, Western culture, is pushing, and human beings are getting softer, and we can have everything delivered to us without leaving our house. So that makes me worried. But at the same time, like I'm moving to the woods and the mountains. I'm getting connected to nature more. I'm getting clear minded, and I'm contributing with my team. I can do, and my purpose is to walk my path and speak my truth
Yeah.
to add some balance. Because if people remain silent,
Yeah.
who are on the team of everyone needs to get along and come together and uh, be peaceful and harmonious. If those people are silent and we let the media or the government institutions control, then we're in big trouble. So,
And I think you're 100% correct in saying that. And I think when you say, when you say that you want to have a voice, I think having a voice also means being in the right frequency, right? So they're trying, whoever they are, let's say, so like let's look at like social media for example. Like they just want to get a rise out of you. Like that's it, a click.
yeah,
Basically they want to click.
yeah,
That's it. That's why capitalism kind of fails, because in there's so many good things about capitalism, but there's so many bad things. Is because if you're a publicly traded company, all I care is that you make money. That's it. I don't care how you make it. I'm just gonna see the number at the end of the month that says, yo, either you made money or you didn't. So same thing with like clicks and social media. All it cares is if there's clicks. That's it. It doesn't matter. Like when you go on your Instagram after, it's gonna say engagement. It's not gonna say whether people liked it or they didn't. Blah 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 blah. It's engagement is what matters. It's gonna drive your algorithm.
yeah,
The problem with that is like now it has no regard for your mental health. It has no regard for your frequency as a person. So now you're taking all this negative stuff in. People's frequencies are being effed with. So now they have to do intoxicants. A person can't give up weed, can't give up alcohol because they're like, bro, I'm gonna go crazy if I give this stuff up. Right? If they don't,
yeah,
so we take for granted that you have a Buddha picture in the back. That means you're exposed to some kind of meditation and certain way of thinking, right? Whereas not everybody is, right? Because that's why it's good that you're speaking and whatnot, on like speaking through your music about these things, because you're helping people change their frequency to a more harmonious, positive frequency,
Yeah,
right? So through your music, and you're like just being who you are, living the life you want to live. And then speaking about music, I know you have Ghostmode. You're wearing the Ghostmode merch.
yep.
Took looks sick, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
So I've heard Ghostmode, obviously, right? I obviously, like, we're in touch all the time, so I know what that song's about. But for whoever doesn't really understand what that song's about, and I think it's a super important track. And like I said, I just think, like, just sharing that message is super important. So can you just break down kind of like what kind of mindset you were in during that song, and like how that ties into all of this, like.
For sure. So Ghost Mode explains where I've been and like what happened to me essentially the past year.
Right.
Like I took a big hiatus from all social media. I got really depressed, went through mental sickness, and, and I stopped making music, and I didn't even know if I was going to return to it.
Right.
And it got really dark for a while. So I wanted to make a track explaining where I've been and like what happened to me. And I've recently come out of that space, and through the help of therapy and time and learning and acceptance. And now I feel I'm in a position where I could speak on those issues, because it's not the first time that I've kind of gone up and down before in my life.
Right.
This time was really horrible, like mental sickness, emotional sickness, physical sickness, like everything's all related. Like I'm very happy that we're in a society that can talk about mental health, but for me, like mental and physical and emotional and spiritual are all the same thing. They're all connected.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Ghost Mode was about. Explain where I've been and what happened to me, and just letting people know that, hey, I'm back and I have a new energy, and I felt like I've come from the brinks of hell, and I didn't know if I was going to make it through fully. And I plan to like go deeper into that on a podcast where I could break down like exactly the specifics of what I was going through, what happened, and how I climbed out of that. So I'm super excited just to be back and dropping it. And 2024 is going to be a big year. Like I see opportunities that are happening, and I'm taking shots every day with progressing my music career and my art and my business. So yeah, I'm super stoked, man.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. I think it's a super important song. I think your music in general always has like there's like a story of like redemption in your music, you know? And I think you have to have a certain vulnerability to kind of tell that story, because you have to admit and discuss and revisit where you've been. And when you're in that moment, while you're getting out of it, to write about it, you know. And I imagine it wasn't easy to come back and start writing that first day. Just like that first workout's not easy, you know. Um, but yeah, man, I just think your overall conversation and your music's like super, super important. And I think, because I've heard some of the other songs that you got coming too. Um, yeah, I think your message, like when you get when the podcast starts going with the music, like, I think you got a strong message, man. I think you got a really strong message. And I don't know if you know the story, but there's a story about the Buddha. So like when he left the forest, so like the forest of his mind, what made the Buddha, a lot of people had left the forest and figured out how to get out of the forest before him. But what made Buddha, the Buddha was he re-entered the forest to exit it the second time so he can learn how he got out. So then he could share it with people, right? So that's like how you're saying, like you've been in that darkness before, but it's like this time you kind of documented how it was and how you got out, and now you can share it with people. You have that experience, you know. So, yeah.
Exactly. So your track, Frsh Vol.2, January 19th, 2024. Where could people find it?
Spotify. It'll be on all streaming services January 19th. My Instagram is usually the best place to get in touch with me. Spotify is the best place to usually stream it, but it'll be on Apple Music, it'll be on YouTube. And we got a bunch of music coming out the whole year. The next 6 months, we got a whole bunch of music coming out. Working on a whole bunch of stuff. This is an exciting year, super exciting year. Um, Working on a bunch of stuff. And now that, you're back into making music, I'm sure we're going to work on some stuff together, obviously. And I'm just excited, man. I think like I'm excited to not only make the music, I'm excited to share the message. I'm excited to inspire people. I'm excited to inspire myself, man. So
I'm
yeah.
excited to get on a stage. That's what I'm excited to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even for myself, with the right opportunity, it's not going to present itself. We're going to create
Yeah.
it. It's in my vision as well. I've written it down. It's in my vision, and we're working towards it. Like you said, every day is an opportunity, and that's it. That's how we look at it. Every day is an opportunity to make a move, and that's it. We just stay making moves, and before you know it, not only are we going to achieve our dreams, but we're going to be ahead of where we thought we're going to be. And then, same thing, sharing that story with other people, creating that blueprint. It's really not even about us. It's about how far can we take it. Then we can share that blueprint, and then, just keep going from there.
100%. Mr. Duck Gooseman, thank you. Queen Caves a lot. 5 Maria Dolores 0. Glitz Glamour Wedding Design. Simrath. LeBron James 2. Justin Sahota. Santos the producer. Ferdinand Lang. UBC official. Last and 3. Thanks for joining the conversation. Esjay, appreciate you, brother. Love you.
Yeah.
And
You too, bro.
let me know when we're gonna hoop, man. You'll be surprised. I've been working on my jump shot.
You don't want that smoke, man.
I want that
I know
smoke.
you want that smoke. Yeah, no, we'll do it.
All right.
We'll do it.
Okay,
All right.
bro.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Peace, bro. Yeah, you too,
Man.
bro. All
Later,
right.
bro.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you
Peace,
soon.
peace.
Guys, thanks for joining the conversation. Ghostmode drops January 1st. I lied. January 19th, 2024 on thisisdjmckay.com. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. We out of here.